Now that your letters are boss, how are we going to decorate them? So we're going to decorate them with a couple different ways. So I've got my layers over here on the right side. There's a bunch of things we can do. Super easy to change the color. So let's change the color. All I have to do, hold down my Command Control button, click once on the picture of the layer. Bam. Everything is now selected in that layer. I can go to my paint bucket, and by the way, up here, I have contiguous unchecked. Contiguous is like continuous. If I have it checked and I click on something, it will stop when the pixels of that similar color or value stop. If I uncheck it, it will do everything that is selected, which is currently everything on the layer, and bang, my whole layer is red. Deselect. Okay, let's go to the P. And I'll say, okay, what about my P? Command click once. Boom. Everything is selected. I want to do a gradient to give it some variety. Sorry, my mouse is messing up. Click on the gradient. Now up here I've got a bunch of options, but let's say I want to make my own. Now I'm going to click on this red to white one, and I'm like, okay, it's kind of there, but I'm Italian. I want to make it Italian. I'm going to click on the actual gradient at the top. Now I've got some options here. I can click anywhere. This adds a new color. The default right now is the first one, but if I want to be Italian and put an Italian flag in this thing, I'll throw in some green. There we go. Red, green, and white. I can slide this around. Less white, more green, red. Less red, more green, and white. And how fast they transition. All this stuff is in there. Not a big deal. All right. So I hit OK. I've got some options as far as the shape of my gradient. Currently, it's going to go out from the middle. So I'll click here, drag. Wherever I start is where the red color begins. Wherever I end is where the white color ends. Bam, fills in with a gradient. Deselect. Okay, cool. We'll come back to that one. Now, my last one here is I have the L. I want to fill this L with a texture, with a brush. So I go to my paintbrush. I have already downloaded some custom brushes from Brush Easy. These are awesome. I have put them in a folder. So what I'm going to do, come here to my brush area, click on my brush. I see nothing interesting. I have all the basic brushes. I go to the gear. I choose Load Brushes. Now, it's recent for me, so I have a brush folder on my desktop, and in it I have Great Streets and Skyline. I'm going to choose Great Streets because it's street maps. I'm doing something urban. That'll work. I hit Load. Now, when I go down, here are my street maps. I grab a street map. There's my brush. I can make this any color I want. So currently it's on red. So I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. My right and left brackets change the size of my brush. I'll make it big enough, in this case, that I can fill it with one shot. Why not? Oops. Let me get to my L layer. And bang, I have just filled my letter with a brush. Okay, so now that I've done that, we have some other options here. Let me get the brush off because that's just obnoxious. Brackets, smaller. There we go. Let's go back to something a little more sane. There we are. So I want to do some outline, special effects, something like that. So I can't see the edges of my P here anymore because I've faded out to white. This is a good one to start with. So I'm going to select that layer. I'm going to go up to Layer, and I'm going to hit Layer Style. There's a bunch of things I can do with this. I'm going to choose, for instance, what shall we do? I will choose Bevel and Emboss. This is kind of cool because it gives me edges. Now I get this little window here. It previews it instantaneously, and you can see that I've got some outline on this, but I can change all sorts of stuff. I can change the size of the bevel. Bevel's like a chiseled edge, okay? The default is smooth, but I can switch this to chisel hard. Now my edges are very geometric and angular. Once again, I can change the size. There's a maximum. Once it hits the middle, that's pretty much the maximum. But I can adjust this around. I can even adjust the light angle to different angles. So that's pretty cool. All right, so we got a bunch of stuff there. I'm going to hit OK. By the way, you can do more than one layer style. I'm like, okay, that's cool. Still can't really see it all the way. So layer, layer style, and let's go to outer glow. Outer glow, I'm going to make my glow actually black because I'm going to give it an outline. I suppose I could have gone to stroke as well, which also would do that, but this will work. Okay. And I'm going to change it from screen, which is translucent or transparent. Actually, let's see how big it goes. Let's see if we can see it. Nope, can't see it. I'm going to change it from screen to normal. There we go. So now you can see I've got an outer glow of black in this case. I could do a light, and I'm going to change it to precise. And I'm going to make it 100% opaque. That's kind of cool. That definitely pops. Play with the settings. See what you get. All right. And so there you go. So you've got a whole ton of options here as far as what you can do with stuff. Try not to use every single one in your one project. You want your letters to fit together. Okay. Remember, Unity, repeating visual concepts.